By the mid-1940s, exhausted from the challenges of the Great Depression and the trauma of World War II, members of the greatest generation were ready to put those hardships behind them and create new American dreams.
Inland got its beginning back in 1944. A couple of gentlemen got out of the World War II, and like a lot of people coming out of the war, they needed something to do for a living, so they started a truck parts business up in Minneapolis.
And though we may take trucks for granted these days, these two veteran entrepreneurs were pioneers in the trucking industry, long before trucks could be seen filling our major highways.
The commercial trucking business was just kind of in its initial stages back in the 1940s. It wasn't what you would think of it as today, because we didn't even have the interstate highway system until the 1950s. The company has always focused on what I would call a bigger truck parts, not light duty, but the bigger Class 8s and the off-highway vehicles, dump trucks, and RVs and vans, but not your traditional passenger pickup.
And after adding 2 more co-owners to their business and expanding their company into 17 shops over the course of nearly 4 decades, it was when the owners decided they wanted to retire that they made a decision they would take this enterprise to the heights of their industry.
A major event occurs in 1982 when the original 2 owners who started the company back in 1944 decide they need to retire, or they're ready to retire, and they want to sell their stock. The original 4 owners decided that the employees at that point had helped them build the company. They had been working side by side with the owners, and they believed that it was important for the employees, when they retired, to have a retirement that they could then live a comfortable life with. And they could think of no better people to sell the company to than the people who had built the company up and would build, from that point forward and grow the value of the company. And so the ESOP concept started in the 70s. So they were really kind of ahead, or at the very beginning of this whole employee ownership concept. And they had a lot of foresight in seeing the value that this thing would create for the employees. Over time, the other 2 owners then sold out, and by 1998, 100% of the stock was then owned by the company.
ESOP's important because you're actually part owner of the company. You have skin in the game, if you will, and you're working towards your benefits for your retirement.
This vision that the original owners had has really come to fruition. It really has played out, because I get these phone calls from people who retire, and they say, boy, this retirement, this ESOP has really changed my life.
And not only did ESOP attract employees to this company, but it also attracted employers looking to sell their companies to a business that would treat its employees with the gratitude they deserved.
Since '95, when I started, we've done 43 acquisitions. There are a lot of baby boomers who own independent service shops and businesses that are looking for a place to sell their business to, so their employees have a future place to go to work. Whenever we're looking at an acquisition, the thing we're always looking for is the employees. Try to make sure they don't go backwards in pay and benefits, and that they keep their tenure. We do everything we can to try to make them feel like good for the owner for selling, and good for us, because we now have a company that's treating us as good as this owner that has been, with us for all these years. And what we then bring to them is something they haven't had. If we can do all of that and then add in sort of the icing on the cake is this ESOP. We can say, you know what, going forward, you're going to share in the profits. And once you do that enough in our industry and people kind of find that out, and it's hard to keep any secrets, I get calls every week then from people who want to sell to us. It's one of those nice benefits where when people want to sell out, they'll call me and they'll say, hey, here's where I am, and would you be interested? So we don't really have to chase after acquisitions. A lot of them come to us.
And while the innovation of employee stock ownership was a great way to bring employees into the company, what keeps them there is the day-to-day experience.
My favorite thing about working here is the people. I thoroughly enjoy working with the people. I've worked at other companies, and it just doesn't have the culture that you have with Inland.
It's a lot less like a job and more like coming to work with family. Everybody here is more than happy to help you learn new things, or if you're struggling with something, everybody is more than happy to help.
They want to pass that knowledge on because they know they ain't gonna be around forever, and they want younger people in to to pass that on. And when everybody's pouring what they know into you, kind of makes you feel good because you're collecting all that and they're putting trust in you to take care of their potential friends later on.
Entrepreneurship, the driving force behind the American dream. It's companies like Inland that prove that the most successful companies are not those that focus merely on the profits of their investors, but those who invest in increasing profits for their employees.